loves, welcome back to the ninth episode of Scene 795, Season 2, presented by Record. And on our set today, we have a very young writer and a queer feminist activist. Celebrating every form of art has been our main theme, and in today's episode, we will dive into the art of writing through the eyes of Mesak Takhelmayum. Mesak, please introduce yourself.
Kurumjari ma'am, my name is Mesak Takhelmayum. Aigi leiphamna sakol bandaini. I'm a young writer, activist, and also a creative artist from this state, and I'm happy to be here and be invited.
Mesak Iwani say, I think it was in 2020. 20 or 29? 20 or 19?
I think it was 20, around 20.
20.
Yeah.
20 swaida event, amada fundraising event, they bani say, no, isn't fundraising event.
It was at Girl Up.
Girl Up ki first meet the.
Girl Up ki meet the. Na Kanglada.
Kanglada thing na wala ko. Aw na masik han hana thing na ne, and then ko na matang atom ko as a team work dominare. And I can say one thing about him. Angang oyer so kay hani ahan mayam dagi hen na mana experience lera ko mayam duna. He's like well spoken aduga knowledge so yam laiba misak amo oye kay no say misak say, and then magi achievements mayam say mana low key lera so ngasi di ang mom tawlo in sa torke. So kadai de hosi misak. So from where should we start?
I just I used to kind of Disti matang that
No.
Disti and my friendship goes back to Girl Up Manipur. Koi se Girl Up Manipur have an organization amada yauminaraga koi se young feminist samo ena hojiki just societies da kahena change pura pangamdraga su ko at least small change, small attempt kumba se hojiki dum bathabak lokhat pa matams da yam thawai yauna yaura iba misakani na aduhan hazani.
Sana thing na rakni amuk like you'll be invited. Nang invite or kani masa invite or kani house there. Ay ko na kang mo ba? I didn't know you are going to be invited. Mo team na information peer kana kang mo ba?
Oh.
And so it's a surprise for me, and I'm very grateful that we get to meet again.
I'm grateful too.
So let us start with the questions. Misa. It was very random. I started it so abruptly. I'm sorry. So, nap kay jo chora nga sino mi jai ya der lo ka thong pai ado Mesak na ngasi introducers as a writer introduced to whenever karamba feelings lak padagi karamba ithil lak padagi kamaina kai phawrok padagi no haidi Mesak na iba ho kibase.
Oh. Writing ki matang ziti ayama matamda I say the genre that I write about ko. Right now it mostly deals with non-fiction ay tare fiction body itre ba hadi reality reporting gumbo na tawe duga si ma'am say hana body pi kan na di like from a sense of like adum atopara bookworm I do khara dum oire ko iso. I used to read books by Amitav Ghosh a lot. Adubu like after a while, especially 2023, is a life-changing year in all of our lives. So conflicts sila pa matang na di ay so kainom di tawningi haidi ay na muk laibak se kan na bakot na ko matams da ay na kulay pa da na hekta ngak pangam jaga so literature gi landscape tay na writing gi landscape tay na ay kay to bayage have do ay yeng gi na khan ba day na huziki reporting gumba thabak sala khalak pane so adumay huziki hulde duni laibak ki matang da I pa na.
You've always loved your motherland. I dum kang number lane they follow on Instagram, then most of his posts they my status boy it's always about my love for motherland. I don't reflect over but most of the time. And I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
You're actually being yourself. Mayam da nang hekta ay phajana ba ay hai bane ha bado natte ba ma aseng ba so ay na khangak padagi ay na urak padagi adum sigi idea se ideology se mo na yaw ga dum la adu magi every writings and every post every status adum reflect awe awareness se ma adum pi ba. So he's not faking. Mayam gi damang ta ma fake taw nate mayam na acceptance ta na ma fake taw was nate. He's being himself. And I really appreciate that about
Thank you so much.
What is your favorite part about being a writer? Writer ang mo bagi Mesaki quite favorite parts eh. Kay oy gadoy no.
The writing say, I mean, we look at it very seriously, not trying. Sometimes we forget that we can be playful. Sana baneva season not try at the end of the day. Lila mane sana ning mamong dum sana baya bis he kawe. Do na maramura kanda writing have pots that sometimes when I have the freedom to write what I want to write about hatare ko reporting ang mataw matang da oira su conflict matang da ira su perspective se anganga mo oina samaj sidadi nang hai dum kahani nang ginawa law de kan harak pa kaino ma irak pa matam daga comment daga huziki am oigira wari sana ba matam da su hekta thatlak taw taw ba angang oi ba na maram mora kan da natra haidi is nang khangpot te habai poton hana mang tha ba do but writing gi mateng na ai gi express taw janing ma wafam sing do dum kaini athat pa kaim da athing ba kaim lai ta ba do so do har dia to ki mate kahani huziki liberty na phangaga iba matam se dum hadi ai gi oina di kaidong phamam hek oirak pa do so aduna yamna pam je hatare din
Even your IG username is Kaidong.
yes it's kaidong pam
Ado nang hadi nang I words me and my vocabulary. I need to improve my vocabulary. Mesaki writings ma'am lay ko adayidi adam research doraga makan ma'am ira ine poem oiro essays oiro articles oiro I've been writing a lot while nang na iba matam na hadi when you write something is there anything which surprises you unexpectedly? Oh, I wrote this. Like, how did this happen? Have I kitang surprising way ba mo lak pa do?
Right.
Si ingon ay tholay ini ko ha ba do? Adu gum lay ba yaw kira.
Hi the hardy it sounds very narcissistic na but isa thagat po na ta karni dubu amuk mukti dum lay hadi thengna irura kan da mo thanda muk thengna ba matam das aina I boy re si se ga khanja ba do so especially thengna ba je kamai tau ge har kan sang na irak pa matam da kainoma ki news sama report ki style the irak pa matam da obviously it's very simple but then when I write a story, for example, fiction, have I put say Europe matam I can surprise myself na try the imagination gi pot la panena. So especially metaphors kumba allegory kumba changdam na pamatam sida sometimes what we want to share, what we want to say, have I put say yam literal when hatare like I sounding her kan I sounding hekta haba I haraw her kan I haraw hekta have I put the especially art ki lamda it doesn't work like that na tra there is like deeper meaning se hekta artist samai ka ni koi ki duty ma it's also that to complicate it to sophisticate it na tra so aduma matang da like sophisticated taw idea sing sometimes it doesn't work but sometimes it works very very well hatare ko so aduna maramura kan adumba differences changdam na ba to adu yeng ba matam sometimes when it lands pura ang kayam luba ang kamay na hot kibay answer phanga pa yang haraw ba do dui type da mo power feelings dum power
Huzik lari ba conflict sida misang na sa hanapan kre like literature ki through the kulai paraga yaw ba ngamdraga so through literature you want to be a part of this conflict so I question say writing se irak pa matam na mesak na how do you view writing as a tool to combat this conflict say conflict say thengna na ba mayok na ba writing say kamai na karama tool ni haina view taw have do the power of writing adu khanghan biramo
writing the power say Disti it mainly has to do with the fact that whatever we're writing and producing right now as artists is also history. It becomes a part of history ka. So and that's why iri ba hoi huziki itihas ma ira ine dana khoi se ngasi thoi ba thodok se mu tung ki generation gi damak ta dimu pass oraga adum moi puari gi type ta muk le hodoi ne ba so simatam zada history is written by victors hai by pots dam chauna lai ko it's not always a correct history da iramba sekta chumamgani habasu laite but different versions ma'am si yengba matamse da khwaide na oithokpa ya ba haibai possibility to ne ba yengaga adui narrative to ne ba le hotoise so conflict matang da oigera any akoi huzik lam da thengnari ba nung awanu ngai gi hatare ko si wari ma'am se ko ne irakpa matamse da at least ai sai wona di ko metai proof ne ko metai da di ko huzik se literary works to ba mi si pak lai su lai te ba especially ko yina mo historically STEM based doctor engineering no disrespect to them but STEM based da yam lai ru pas na mara mora kan lai ri I ba mi si pak su lai ram da ba history sing se atokpa context na distort to ba gum by evidence lai ram ga su matam da ko na counter su taw da ba counter taw da ba na mara mora kan adok ki mati ko se academicians and people involved in literature and writing si ham wat leba so adu space no mai tayam oina aisu ai community da contribute to ri bai ani khudama mo oina aisu si da changaga maitai singi wari manipur gi wari si irak ke na khanja bane ba sina not only in a way that maitai khak benefit to bai wana ta ba in a way that benefits history as a whole and it benefits literature as a whole na cha so aina sincere hekta o be ni habus laite ai gi lan balers mam da dum yet pirakani yet pira on dum haizari ne but it's a tool to preserve history and hiding ta
criticism di dum lakani ko hadi akoina dum hojik like taw matam da any field or ko matam da mi school ma thola ko matam da philosophy ma thola ko matam da there is always criticism philosophy do katang tam de ba ko criticism si yaun tam ne ba nei nari ne ba dui poto kanani hen chumi kanani hen lali ha ba do and you're making an impact on that.
Thank you.
And it's great. It's wonderful and you're doing that in such a young age.
Thank you so much.
Koi da yamna proud oininga gi wa pham mane si se like you're deviating from the mainstream. Mayam chatnari blind kitang mainstream da kitang thaido ga chat bane ba kai gina ha matam da hayeng wai tung da ngasi si talk se mo su khangza ho sani and lessons can be learned from it.
Right.
Adugi na mo tanang honari ne ba.
Right.
Ato ko mayam se appreciate to talk ta. Takhelmayum ga Takhelmayum ga se me confused chatra
out chale am to chale
wari ma cham liro ta se na gi Takhelmayum ga Takhelmayum ga soi bagi
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Actually I got confused I Takhel dambam hekta hai he to Takhelmayum ha
see issues I sago but na IMPHAL West haitare ko IMPHAL West the predominantly hen tho ek posi pot se document che dai na kai dai na ming gi pan ba pronunciation misprinting ma am sem dok ma bo na ma punji tang khai ma chakra bane khal le ba oi bai choi ta takhelam ba mai bai pot se num competition go ma yaw ba ma tam takhelam ba mai na hek thai rak pa and hana di kai su kai de na khallam me but then yumnak hai si boy gi ai su sakta in na tran yumnak hai be pot ai gi family gi history heritage lai bane na disrespect su taw haning dai takhelam bam ni na te dana but yam interesting oina khoi Takhelmayum hai ba yumnak se IMPHAL West di park lai su lai te ba but IMPHAL East na pai khai mok lai ba kolup ki oina horak pham se bodi khoi si gi kongpal khurai lamlong sa wai se mi yam lai ba yam na so aduna mara mora kan da IMPHAL East at pamatam da di si issue si lai te ba Takhelmayum dum seng dum har e ba ko but mainly khoi gi yumnak se ahama matam de muk su thawai nu ngai ta bom su phaw khoi si ati na pik pa yumnak oi kra ro lei boy lei ta boy taw ba ga na but then thiziluba matam dai handak matang sai like Burma da lei ba maitai sing gi wari gum thiziluba matam da Takhelmayum se Myanmar da yam chaw na tar ka lei gen hai nei khoi hai di maitai kathe hai nei ko mo ata de so kathe gi yumnak ta di kai ni khwai de na chaw ba yumnak manung chal le ba Myanmar da so yam sentimentally ai se khoi yumnak se Indian side of the border then Myanmar de hena prominent hoi ba do adum de du relation de dum lai ri but yeah thank you Takhelmayum ne ma'am Takhelam bam na de
Mesaki articles, essays, poems I think it has been published over Varta Trust, Zuban, Sapiens.
Yeah.
Aduda sigi matang na khara mayam da khangalam
Oh. publish tꯧꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯚꯥꯔꯇꯥ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯃꯥꯡ ꯆꯍꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯔꯤꯂꯤꯐ ꯀꯦꯝꯞꯗ ꯑꯣꯖꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯝꯃꯤ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯑꯣꯖꯥ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯔꯤꯄꯣꯔꯇꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯈꯨꯗꯣꯡꯆꯥꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯐ꯭ꯔꯦꯟ ꯑꯃꯁꯨꯡ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯃꯦꯟꯇꯔ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯇꯥꯏ ꯁꯣꯁꯥꯏꯇꯤꯒꯤ ꯐꯥꯎꯟꯗꯔ ꯗꯦꯕꯤꯠ ꯁꯝꯀꯨꯃꯥꯝꯅ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯣꯄꯣꯔꯆꯨꯅꯤꯇꯤꯗ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄꯅꯦꯕ ꯁꯣ ꯐ꯭ꯔꯣꯝ ꯗꯦꯟ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜꯁꯦ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯃꯆꯥꯁꯦ ꯏꯕ ꯍꯧꯔꯛꯑꯦꯕ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯃꯆꯥꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ struggles as a person during the conflict, as a young person during the conflict ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯨ ꯏꯕ ꯍꯧꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ I also talked about different stories ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ but perspectives ꯑꯩꯒꯤꯅ ꯏꯔꯥꯡꯁꯦ ꯀꯅꯥꯅ ꯍꯧꯔꯛꯈꯤꯒꯦ ꯀꯅꯥꯅ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯈꯤꯒꯦ solve ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯈꯤꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯨꯗ ꯅꯠꯇꯦꯕ ꯐꯣꯀꯁꯁꯦ because especially 2023ꯁꯤ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ the whole narrative is who did it firstꯀꯅꯥꯅ ꯀꯩ who did it first ꯀꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯨꯗꯤ ꯇꯁꯦꯡꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯑꯩꯗꯤ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯇꯤꯛꯁꯇ ꯁꯤꯟꯅꯅꯤꯡꯉꯦꯕ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯊꯧꯁꯨ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯇꯁꯦꯡꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯇꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯀꯣꯟꯇꯦꯛꯁꯇ solve ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯕ ꯄꯣꯠꯅꯤ but as a person as a social worker as an activist ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯊꯧꯕꯨ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯒꯤ ꯑꯋꯥꯕꯁꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯣ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯗꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯂꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯋꯥꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯣꯏꯗꯕ ꯂꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯋꯥꯕꯁꯤ ꯇꯥꯔꯛꯑꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯊꯦꯡꯅꯔꯤꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯏꯁꯨꯁ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ especially English languageꯗ ꯏꯕ ꯃꯤꯁꯤ ꯄꯥꯛ ꯂꯩꯇꯦꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁꯤ ꯃꯁꯦꯟ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯅꯨꯡ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯅꯩꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯦ ꯁꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯄꯥꯟꯗ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯗ꯭ꯌꯨꯁ ꯇꯧꯁꯤꯒꯦ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ how we're struggling ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯣ ꯁ꯭ꯇ꯭ꯔꯒꯂꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯣꯔꯤꯗꯣ ꯈꯪꯉꯗꯤ ꯃꯤꯉꯣꯟꯗꯁꯨ ꯁꯤꯝꯄꯊꯤ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯍꯦꯜꯂꯤ ꯁꯤꯝꯄꯊꯤ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯇꯤꯛꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯗꯣꯅꯦꯁꯟꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯅꯤꯔꯨꯕ ꯈꯣꯠꯂꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯁꯨ ꯃꯤꯅꯁꯨ ꯑꯦꯗꯇꯨ ꯊꯥꯔꯛꯑꯦꯗꯣ ꯄꯩꯁꯥꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯣ ꯔꯤꯂꯤꯐ ꯀꯦꯝꯞꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ how do I help them ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯣ ꯏꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯀꯦꯠꯇ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯍꯦꯜꯞ ꯇꯧꯅꯕ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯕꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯕ that's very little ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯣꯔꯤꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯑꯦꯝꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯐꯥꯏ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯍꯦꯟꯅ ꯂꯥꯔꯖꯔ ꯃꯥꯁ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯌꯧꯍꯜꯂꯒꯗꯤ more assistance and more help can reach them ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯈꯟꯖꯕꯩ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯕ so my journey started like that with art.
Since I'm sorry language ki matangda lakpase haidi English word sinaba adigi English te irakpa bu oiro or English ta ngangakpa bu oiro adum mayam se kitang against later maitai macha mo oiragadi Manipuri da ngang matam se doesn't that I'm not saying they're wrong moi lale habadi nataba but it can be viewed from other different perspective natra haidi akoi story da mayam da yahon se habaneba yahon ba matam da akoi na akoi common akoi gi native language se sinar ko matam da it doesn't go far until and unless it's translated
right
ado sigi pota sigi wafam da misaki idea se kai leisi da wakalon se kai leisi matang sida
si matangse adum it's a very big issue haitare criticism hariba poto adu thengnaba matamsida one of the biggest criticisms e kaini English tawraga no America chakro no I Angrez yam tawrakpa kholopa gaina si pots adum ta lairabaneba adum hana su debate kumba yar debate competition yam yar ep aise so debate competition yar ko matamdu so nangi du yam phadi phajei but then first ta hanba yaro second ta gadamne English ngang banena aduga jury gumana mama lon yokhattaba khodaba kana adui pot yam thina chawna dum layebako adu khoi see the end hygienic but at the end of the day I say I'm not an English writer I'm not an English person I am a Meitei writer who predominantly writes in the English language loan de dum hong ki basu ya ba music genre do singer mana music genre masa adui genre dum saklai ni habadi natte dana people are versatile they can deviate like you said so but one thing that I want to stress is a koi wari sing se adum manung da koi dum naina ba hatare ko when we talk about stories in the Meitei language ima lon habai pots they respect dum thamgani if I had the choice to use only English or Meitei lon the rest of my life Meitei lon I dum select tau kani pai but it's also important to know that akoi gi story jing je khoi masen kha khanna basina phadoira natra chawkraba lariba malem sida su yohan basi phabra haiduneba yohan na bai khudol oina English sina lambi orak toin thong orak toineba to bridge the gap haitare so aduna mar mora kanda agi friend amalai ma su writer amani Natalie Dita ning thokhong jamaina ko so she mana word ama coin taweba khoi Manipur gi any se conflict or whatever gi situation je koi se insulation ama da lena hadi hot case amai manung da pura manin du thokhanda bi da manung dum om chaknar ga laiba to so se gi om chaknar laiba wafam je kamaina pressure release tausike by also sharing haitare ko mi masu waba matam sida share taw thok tabadi hena waba do physically human body su tawedana
Yes.
but me ma do share tawna bo hotna ko matam da Disti na ai gi pain do language to khangam ba khangam da ba ba the Disti na su gyan ta ga da language da en share taw ta ba ne ba and in a global context ma do language to English na oirak pa wa ne ba so English na is ai na ima lon bo mirai da na ta re ko mirai bi da na en da mai on tho oga dom la kan da emphasis pi bai wa na te at the end of the day ima lon je nung si man bagi ima lon da lerami ba wari mam se mapalam da leri ba mam da su khanghan hoi khang sanu ha ba na su English na mateng oi ne ba
do ibai matang English matang la ko matam da handak recently Mesak ki poem mama it has been doing very well IMPHAL as a pond haibado adugi maramda mayamda khara khanghalamo kamaina kar inspiration power ka irakibano aduga cam how far has it gone haibado kadai ba yokre haibado my achievement adugi poem dugi mayamda khara khanghalamo
see poem se at least in my writing journey yam thina impactful oraga ai ka hani change in my life, in my journey, ma proper poem ne I was very lucky with it. Aina mingon da share tawru jaga su online da lay pa pot min recommendation Google gi homepage da hekta dum tho ga dum lay rame na ha bira eba ko. So see poem se IMPHAL as a poem se first inspiration se di kaini Siddharth how bi jam na yambam lay my photographer ma phul gi mar ta tare ko sorok se semi ba khoi sagol ban line si sorok pak thok pai sorok se ma marak se da rickshaw ma thawr sa ki ba to nupi lepa yeng lay hopa gi photo ma si yam uba matam yam na airy oi ba kaino ma husiki you know a surreal thing that just kind of touched me had I record that how do I express that emotion of changing IMPHAL in words haibatu ne ko pi kan da ise mateng ma shilong da like tam ewa so Manipur da thorok pa matam da IMPHAL lak pa matam sta la yam na taseng haru ba matam da Imalay bak se hekta pi kan nung shirak pa power pa di tawrak te ba ahan mo matam dati it was a lot of khatta ma pham zibu yam tin mot pas ba adu su leite ada su leite pi kan da already Guwahati yung ro ba ne Guwahati ka haino ro KFC su like ta ba ko ma te kana complaints ma am lai ra me ba but then eventually nung shirak pa ngamak pa do malay bak se chat lurani hala ani change ma lai ra mani in other regions of the world development habai pot se building se sema meko it rises up high rise ki pot se development ki khuda moeba whereas koi Manipur gi ona di it starts from ground zero doi makha minus then hogal en high ri bam se kaino ha kan pukri phunjin ba then hora ena upa phang eba so pukri phunjin ba sena khuda ma mo oiraga IMPHAL se da hong bam la ini habai pot se proof am oi ba to lots of the ponds ko zum khang biram gani pi kan khang hauram ba pukri ma dum leitre na tra IMPHAL manung se especially yum dum lam thonjil la goji yum sarak padaina so adu daina inspire oraga si poem se coin torok pa ne ko and yamna impactful
how far has the achievements been made through that poem
poems gi oina di first of all I got a nice check I got a nice check with and I got paid nicely so but beyond that sigi se Yale the Roma Harvard to tamba Bilal Moin hana there's this one young anthology magi researcher hetare so he came through this my poem he studies in Cambridge and so maze penguin books ka so maze Indian cities ki matang da ma document by my poems collect by tare so for IMPHAL he found my poem and so my poem is going to be a part of his anthology book
and it will be published through Penguin
yes through Penguin Books
like I worry yam pa ba novels ko mo yam ba and most of the books anum Penguin gi publication se and it's like best of the best stories ma'am say yam thole eba dugi publication house again and you're going to be part of that
the poem is going to be a part of that
and it's such a huge thing mayam se khangmam thoe si pot se
oh
see
fortunately
akoi own Manipur de
Fortunately, Penguin ki se sigi work ki mathak sida handak se koi se anthology zo muk iye bako. This was written by our friends that South Asia then a khalakpa writers queer writers room haina moi project ama Sri Lanka da ama lai baneba. So for that we went to this queer writers room. We got mentored by these fabulous writers from the US. And so what happened was koi book ama se koi Penguin the pitched away, and that is also has been accepted. And so I'll be attending the Mumbai Literature Festival in November, and I'll be going to Mumbai.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm so proud of you. No, I'm literally so proud of you. Hadi angang macha dong lay ho bane ha ma se ai na khara hal le me sak te angang macha dong na dum na tawra ga lay ho bane ba ngasi thingnaw kan da yamna height su khara wang khala me. He came back as a man. Bra me sak se fully grown up. Ado huzik IMPHAL is a pon hai poem se mayam gi damota pathobi ba ya ga.
Oh yeah. Ado ai se dum si pa ba se ai se kahani magi translation am moina koi engon da lei ba ko. So si translation se mai te lon do oi ba. So if you don't mind,
yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Ado na can pay.
So aigi imanaba nungshi ka ba imanaba aigi best friend Jit Kumar haiba maina lei ba ko. So Jit Kumar ga translate tong minaraga iminiki baneba sise. The poem was written by me and translated with him. So saying si mamings na nungshi sendoi gi khorjai sambandong gi sendoi bu anilba makhon ga loina na thongjil du da leptu na thori makhoina amata khakta na yonbi khraba ima gi thawai ni nonglei masu mahaki mi changchangli adubu sintharakli ba mitlu na asiba magi pakhumsu fongamdana lamangnari macha singi puri ba senphamdugi sendoi hulibi kanglei pak ima khanthaba ngamdraba makhoi kharanati ima gi wari busu khangbide lamdamasidi leichil maraktasu hingnabagi ithat ipomlakta hiram thiribi hi honbi magi pokna phamni thanga ithat landuna ningthokhong leikang yaunaba athaba leichilakta hi holibi magi nawana ima gauduna naushumgi ningai tauri laija maga marup sana nu haiduna mamana nau maga loinana naushumi sei sakli to ibudau thangjing ki sakyeng mingselni loktak imadi imagi nungsibadi kebulam jao na hopham loipham khangdabagum chentharakli ba phumdi gi itin phamsu nungsi chel da tinki maitraba ki khorjai na iriba kya dangakli ba wareng mapang kainaraba pombi kaya gi kaidong phamni sana leiba ikhaulang lamba kaya amasu palemgi sambul sumduna laikra kaya su kokhalli suriba phau kangjaina matamgi mamibu hokliba mahaki sanana senpham halli punsi sandhya talakta thakli lang lemlei mabu phanaba phijida yaliba thawai kaya su ngairi chakluk thadoklakpa thakraba lang atuda karibu thuriba no haibadusu koroi pana fau khoning kangkhatli thongjil da lepli ba makhoi singsu pakhom ngairi chindwin barak anigi samjilakta inin liba law khongba kaya sinasu mahaki samlangi ningthiba pankhai takli chekhaira ba laibakta thiliba chandon amadi namliba malem leisa lining kayabu naukonbi ima gi sadongna kaithel gi phairel oiri phauduna chatliba makhoisu imagumna leichilakta punsi sintha pangki pirang dinatte sinthariba uphulna palemgi pirang mahutsilli ima leibak asigi awaba sida henba leiridra pumlabasu tanglaba imagi thawaidi kaithelakta yoliba ngari gumbani mitopna supai paisinkraba yumjawdugi sumangduda tutharakliba macha oiba singi hakchang polang kaidongnungda imana yonkhide khuchap thangduna chingkhatliba khu inda laktauriba lamdam asigi laibak leptauri thawaidi asum kairi pirangi ireida lakhatuna iraknariba wagai bu holibi mabu lamdam mana ngairi machaduna su nausum tari uithabadi yadana
yamna thamoy huna phajaba sayeng haibado oir me sa asengmogi so it's very nice.
Thank you so much.
Mayam so horeng adum phajana ta yani ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯋꯥꯔꯧꯕꯤꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯚꯤꯗꯤꯑꯣ ꯅꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯑꯦꯛꯇꯤꯚꯤꯇꯤꯁ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯇꯧꯈꯠꯂꯛꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯕꯒꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯅꯍꯥꯟꯈꯩꯗꯤ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯊꯦꯡꯊꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯅꯝꯕꯅꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯥꯎꯟꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯕꯜ ꯑꯣꯏ ꯉꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯕꯤꯜꯗꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁꯦꯌꯔ ꯇꯧꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃꯒ ꯑꯃꯒ ꯂꯣꯏ ꯁꯦꯌꯔ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯂꯩꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯃꯈꯣꯟ ꯈꯔ ꯂꯥꯡꯉꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯋꯥꯔꯧꯕꯤꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯦ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯁ ꯑꯗꯣ we can take a short break ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯉꯥꯏꯍꯥꯛꯇꯪ break ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯧꯔꯁꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ and we'll come back bye bye Welcome back, guys. Okay, break macha ama lore, and then now we are about to continue the show. Show mo hono bata or say Mesak Takhelmayum. Adong si coffee se yam hawi 175 degrees Celsius. Mak se kang ba. Tham nge sa mai na mayam una. Adong mo yin eh ising bottle superior do ko no tabne na kana tham na horing thani ngai lo sura tak. Waro bi ba yate. Na table do loina mo thai thole ba am congested oi have. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯁ ꯂꯥꯛꯄ ꯈꯨꯗꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯕ꯭ꯔꯦꯛ ꯂꯣꯏꯔꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯔꯤꯆꯨꯋꯦꯜ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯏꯁꯩ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯁꯛꯂꯦ ꯃꯦꯁꯥꯛꯁꯦ ꯏꯁꯩ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯁꯛꯄ ꯍꯩꯕꯅꯦ ꯃꯥ ꯉꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯁꯛꯍꯟꯒꯅꯤ You have to sing a song ꯅꯪ ꯏꯁꯩ ꯁꯛꯇꯕ ꯌꯥꯔꯣꯏ ꯃꯦꯁꯥꯛ
I'll sing one song. Mateo Masake do I say, but I'll sing a Japanese song.
Wow.
So, Seiko Matsuda gi Sweet Memories.
You can tell them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet Memories by Seiko Matsuda ka. Natsukashi itamida wa zutto mae ni wasurete ita Demo anata o mita toki jikan dake atomotori shita no shiawase to kikanai de ususukonu o chosu janai tomodachi narairu kedo ni wa moheyangare nakute ushinatta yume dake ga utsukushiku mieru no wa naze kashira sugisatta Yasashisa mo ima wa amai Yoku sweet memories. Thank you. Custom the break to the call.
Ano, hani adum ako sa lakpa kanda isay sa kanma kanda it's either English natraga Manipuri. Ano oy ba? Why did you choose Japanese?
I chose Japanese because language mo they just palm jabai ne ko at the end of the day there's no complicated explanation to it but at the same time I say language kuma tamba gumba se am thina maru oi pra na khalle pa ko so like yeah I do think that learning a lot of languages is important.
Why?
So
why do you think it's important?
Yeah, regarding the why, writing is mari line it mainly has to do with again access to stories. Habi matang and habi to English se tammi se ngang se kai no imalon so nana taba loan tamni ngai se kari kino habi matang yo ko sita. It's because loan se ka he na topa loan gum so khangba matam sita we can have access to those stories haitare. Maitai loan se khangda ba mi na di khamba thoi bi wari se karam kan khang doi no ba so maitai lon su tam mo sine ban hai se topa mi sing da natra at the same time khoi su tam se ba khoi gi sense of entitlement do khoi gi loan ze mean the hype hum thoe do ka hani khoi na to pudi hai to su yare ha be kok to to gum se ba ko at the same time amna global era haina bane hujik matam de thana matam dam secluded oraga moi gi lai pham thok pham kachin na dum lai ba matam du natre na globalization se du ki matik cha khale hujik matam de aduna maram mora kanda if we can learn our stories we can also promote our culture better. Recently, the first Asian woman to receive a Nobel Prize, Han Kang, Han Kang, Sizumana, the vegetarian, Hanaman book, she doesn't write in English. She writes in Korean, but translation have a effectiveness to sulai ni kosida. But how can you translate? But many people say magi loan du essence to translate to the loss in translation gi pot lak pa mar more kan essence to yo bangam da ba khoi manipuri gi su isai ma has ne am pam zero bu english ta hando so khoi loan da hari ba phaja ba do yo bangam da ba ma leram ba da na so adum bagi disparity sing do by knowing languages loan do ek haizilura ga di moi gi di translation di bera do laitre da na so to mar more kan loans adum increasingly ai tamna ba hot na ri kan and Japanese is one of them
loan tam sam say am dika nei ko hadi hujik me yam tam na loan say Mandarin Mandarin jam tam nei hujik kan ai friend circle sum yaw Mandarin tam ba se do tam khai kan nei loan di ta khoi gi lei ba khoi masen gi marak ta loan makhan makhan me am nei am diverse oi ne ba so khara khara dum like basic to or so interact to ba ya ba gi level phaw da ama khang nar di heartwarming so oivane me amana akhoi gi jati na tawa me amana akhoi lon lok ma tam da I feel so warm hena warm oibo do adu oiba adu gi beauty do lehan ba man do misaki sapilan pi in base almost every events adum ayaw matam ile sapilan pi gi maram da kitang haramo and why do you always wear it
si sapilan pi se hujik se koi male pageant sing du yam thina upna bataina di popularity bula
ko ring bom da kano to ki bane
oh so popularity se growth is yam thina pa me but I will say I did it before obviously I'm just kidding I don't own it or anything natra si se puro mo na so si se koi khoi mai tai na di saphilan pin hai nei but tangkholi se now sing na di rivat kachon hai na bane soer so the pronunciation the same dong pi ko waro bi ya de do I say just I gi heritage se Manipur ha bai pot se like just international fellowships workshops kuma ya ba pa matam se da represent tawning ba do state to but karina represent to ba ya ha bai se I dum moi salai trade kuma so I dum idea din corporate to salai trade ki phi kuma sum ya le ba ko but salai trade kuma se so at the end of the day Manipur ha bai pot to konslak na ba hot na matam da like maitai ha bai pot limited oirak pra kan so I sum khanjin ba du ne ba ko so do na mar mora kan the see se I gi family lines ki hire ga so I pa se maitai bu ni maitai ni khoi ba hoi se kai sam pat tai ne ba ko but he also grew up in Ukrul da ai gi kahni grandma grandpa se muje hotel hang am hai thaina matam da so khoi ba za da Ukrul da chawra ka dumai lerak panena aduna my heritage to the so respect people hai tare ko that mai tai tangkhul hai gi tra any just specifically ani gi wana taba Manipur haris tabuna tra pro pa makhak na lairam ba lam man oi bai pro am khak na lairami ba lam ne ha bai proof anywhere in history phangoi ba lairami khoi su lairami ba mi to pustum lai minaram ba so Manipur ha bi khoi punna lai minaram ba share to minaram ba lam ma ne ba so aduna mar mu kan da just see peace na the ideals to represent da bra na khan ba tangkhul khak suna temok si paw mai chaki sang kang bu sing na so see peace dum yan ja ba ne ba ko so aduna mar mu kan da it's very dear to me and I take it everywhere
yamna phajaba meaning ama pura ga chatlame in hang ba thangina cha as a writer am oina hujik lai ba conflict sa Manipur ge si kamaina view to how do you view this conflict
conflict say not necessarily as a writer khaki was not but as a creative person hai tare ko creative person am oina sigi se koi se artist ngak tane na lo jai at the end of the day writing is also a form of art but artist the am thina impact to have matang da aina ka hen high root ga su dum khang naram gani but then it's also the fact that koi artist koi je tumina su lai ba hita bane ba yam opinionated oi ba mi ngak to oi bane ba we will always find ways to express to resist to revolution gi pot yam pam ja ba oi bana maram mora kan ne ba normal dui wang ma da la la ga kaino ma unique ko ba pot tawning ai se so as a writer view to roba matam da obviously I mean the basic answer would be that it's very sad akoi gi opportunity phangada ba khot kada ba mam sing su adum sidarak pa kholak pa gumbam su lai rine ai su handak sahi I say like Montreal the invitation la about One Young World conference ki oina but then I got the invitation to represent like my indigenous community but I said how travel ka you know ha kan the travel gi pot to net thing bahai gedra paisa gi ke kawana ba khotna ba daina haru ba matam the resources sing sekta mang tha ba wari se ai gi wena di wa boina dis ko hai roi ko ai di am thina du har di rai ba se pha ra tare support system am like but kala the pam ja ba kala gi feels the yauru ba mi ka ama dis documentic so in it aduna mara more kan creativity gi pot se su story sing se khoi brain am thina impact to ba ai gi su if it was a better time I would have written about love I would have written about comedy natra phagi phuna ka or su do ne ba tawning ise but now suddenly seriousness amalak panena aduna hadi suppose I'm a singer mana nungshi bai wari su khara khat pai wari su khara sam ga da ba singer do na dum lai bak ning ba khak tum chat pa do lai bak ning ba do phatte ha ba wana ta but then ai creative pursuit to di ama khak oi ba to di artist will always want different choices natra so adom gi side ta di conflict si da ai su lamdam si khalura kan da di atopa di pak theng de but hoi adum impact to
artist ki wari la ko matam da art ki power se power of art how do you view the power of art sina kai ne haina khani misang na
I say history ki student amasu oe ba ko so as a student of history reference to roba matam da every civilization will have an era or an age yam successful over age se mo se golden era han haina budun taramani ko golden age hariba era se kamai la ibno haba matam da it's because during this era it's not war that is promoted it is poetry music dance art sculptures so aduna more can see golden age sing se am golden age or is kai you know ha kan da lan ngam ki ba khot ki ba do not te ba it's because they promoted civilization have a pots never civilization have a art something interrelated or aduna art have a pots na chawkhat li ba lamdam or the arts na chawkhat li ba artists na chawkhat pa lamdam or ga di lamdam ma du su chawkhat kan ne have a se ai dum yam chaw na tha jai ba because and Manipur some special space amasu oil ko documentic inclusive su oil khanum khalur matam da sana leba har mi se maram jam chai na khaline kai no kan history hare khoi gi de subcontinent South Asia ki entire subcontinent ga su relatable or aspects like Southeast Asia ga su relatable aspects su like na tra crossroad or many regions se so art si su makhal ne ba le rami se so akoi gi how Manipur have a pot tampa has a form torok no have a kan the South Asia ga Southeast Asia gi character labor trade amasung adu da chatki ba ideas mayam dugi tin pham have a never and ideas si kamai na sap hong ge have a matam da art ki mateng na neba so art have a pot se protect to se preserve to se artists se respect to se aduna sees na it'll go a long way towards us being civilized and also our civilized have a pot I'm using it loosely ko but in the sense that we are liberation have a pot art because I'm related whatever khatna zaina ba war matam ju drums darkar tar isi kai no rhythm ama loin la yeba life ki and aduna mara mora kan da sigi rhythm se art na present taw pangam ni ba without art nothing will make sense anymore and that's why chaw khaba universe chaw khaba sigi universe the koi meaning ama phangna ba hotner is art ki aspect and philosophy so darkar yam ta ba mina di anka nung anka kai ga ki pot ki logical thinking is necessary oi haba but sometimes see yarak ta tam da sida na sulak pa mathau ta ba ko and I think meaning of life theory ba ngak ta ne so art sin the answer se pi bra na khal
yamna phazaba explanation amane masa I think at one point, I was intimidated by you. Quite dinner a friendship journey like was it. So, man ang thorak pa mesak nang thorak pa mesak ki ideas. Man put se kamay na thamba kamay na present ba. ꯑꯩꯉꯣꯟꯗ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ intimidating ꯑꯣꯏꯈꯤꯕ not because I'm scared but because you hold such an amount of knowledge ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯁꯥꯏꯅ ꯊꯣꯏꯗꯣꯛ ꯍꯦꯟꯗꯣꯛꯅ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯕꯗꯨꯒꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯅꯪꯅ ꯔꯤꯁꯔꯆ ꯇꯧꯔꯨꯕ ꯑꯗꯩ ꯅꯪꯅ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯄꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯆꯪꯉꯨꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯣꯏꯍꯜꯂꯛꯄꯅꯦꯕ ꯈꯪꯍꯜꯂꯛꯄꯅꯦꯕ ꯁꯤ ꯀꯦꯄꯥꯁꯤꯇꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯗꯔꯀꯥꯔ ꯇꯥꯏꯌꯦꯕ ꯊꯤꯖꯟꯕ ꯈꯣꯝꯖꯟꯕꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯀꯟꯕꯁꯦ you have reflected that capacity ꯑꯗꯣ writingꯒꯤ context-ꯁꯦ historical ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯈꯇꯪꯗ ꯆꯠꯄ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ subjects incorporate ꯇꯧꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ in your writing
ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯗꯤꯁꯇꯤꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯊꯤꯖꯤꯟꯕ ꯈꯣꯠꯆꯤꯟꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯤꯗꯗꯤ it's not limited to any subject also but trying to understand who am I ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯣ ꯈꯨꯝꯅꯕ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯔꯛꯄꯗꯨꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯣ indigenous ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯇꯔꯝꯒꯥꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯄꯪꯁꯤꯕꯨꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯔꯦ ꯑꯃꯅꯁꯨ indigenous ꯅꯦ ꯑꯃꯁꯨ indigenous but what is indigenous ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯦ ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯦ ꯈꯪꯅꯕ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯁꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ initiative-ꯇꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ especially when I look at IMPHAL, for example, I'm proud to be from this city. Heritage adukki matik thallaba mafamne natra. But how much of our city do we know? Sima paas na sumai toise kaigi, sumai khaami se kaigi. Haiba matang do khang trapado hai tare koise. So aduna mara mora kanda injustice haiba pot se dum laira eba. Subject hardi the big thing is that some things are very unfair. Why is something so unfair haibai poto khangaknaba hotnaba matamda moigidamakta di sumai phaye but for us advantage oibadu khoi the disadvantage oi guys kaigino du khangnaba hotnaba duneba so irakpa matamsda it has to be very diverse also. I cannot just write through referencing literature geography yang mathau tai en sunga sai hai kibo crossroad haibai concept to la ido Manipur sumai diverse oirami se kaigino crossroad oirami bai and then why Manipur yi meeting sumai ngasi conflict sumai lai se kaigino political situation. So answers say different la aba economy lak to ine da and obviously science ki pots ma'am interrelated or to ine aba. So aduna mara mora kan da koi gi understanding say cross cutting themes ma'am se gyan ta na ba hotnar but at the core of it it begins from trying to understand who we are, why we are. Nari zika you know ziki layeng na ba kamai hotna sige habdu khangak na hotna ba matamda you need to find out the reason natra so adu process da na writing se lak mana
hojik hoi shows almost loishalak pa yare wrap up to ba yare to loishan tringai da Mesak ki experience Mesak na opportunity seek to ba si myam sidagi talak pa hide knowledge guidelines later gadi hojik writers mayam inkalayo mayam leram doine dagi wakan ke haini iningba dagi di ngangningba pom doine mayam out the Mesak na kari guideline piningi habdo or if you want to share anything you're free to do so.
Thank you so much. I have a younger brother. His name is Mesak Takhelmayum. So hi. Ado yam zunung shi gi naw no pa se ko and ma se music say he's just like 7 years old now but ma wonder for example mi to pa yeng uchi kan da ai naw no pa se kai ha ba ai kamai chum tho khan ba ai ha ba pot se but at the end of the day koi see virtue signaling gi pot se ka hen su towning there because I'm still young myself and sigi me na sudum thabadi thagali which I'm very grateful for nang zunga si dum hai re pa mam do but at the core of it see ma'am say sigi hyper independence la iba sing ba yam intelligent oi chahi du ga chana de habe pot se necessarily praise or na low treble ko ise because at the same time it's also very heartbreaking how many people have to lose their childhood na cha angang or kan panglang lang lai ga da ba wakhalon na si ma'am zi lam na khalak na ba hot na pa se ahong do purak na ba do hot purak ning man bai ne ba haidi any conflict situation so authorities in yenga da ba po da yengak ta ba na mara mora kan da huji praja na sulak pa mathau ta ba praja ha da karama mkhan praja har kan da huji naharon ori ba inkhalei ba khoi na ha ma'am since my yarak pa mathau ta rai ba kholi ba and si glamorize to toning there but at the end of the day ko it's we deserve doing other stupid things na tra khoi gi che age da so do na mara mora kan da si da I don't want to add pressure to anyone but as creative people resources share to matang da di hining ko resources share to matang da competitive space samadi loin lai to khoi se first of all globally is already competitive at the khoi si global south ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯦꯔꯤꯌꯥꯗ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯒ꯭ꯂꯣꯕal ꯁꯥꯎꯠꯇꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯀꯟꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯂꯩꯔꯦꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯁꯤꯗꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯅꯣꯔꯠ ꯏꯁ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯂꯥꯛꯇꯣꯏꯅꯦ ꯅꯣꯔꯠ ꯏꯁ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔ ꯂꯥꯛꯇꯣꯏꯅꯦꯗꯅ ꯁꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯑꯣꯄꯣꯔꯆꯨꯅꯤꯇꯤꯁꯦ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯀꯜ ꯗꯥꯎꯟ ꯇꯧꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗꯗꯤ ꯃꯊꯛꯇꯩꯅ 1,000 ꯊꯥꯔꯛꯄꯗꯣ ꯁ꯭ꯋꯥꯏ ꯌꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯐꯥꯕꯣꯏ ꯐꯥꯗꯕꯣꯏ ꯇꯧꯔꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ munnaba ꯈꯣꯠꯅꯕ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯊꯤꯅ ꯂꯩ but ꯁꯤ environmentꯁꯦ it is meant to destroy us ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯐꯪ ꯐꯪꯕꯗꯣ ꯊꯥꯛꯅꯁꯦ ꯁꯦꯌꯔ ꯇꯧꯃꯤꯟꯅꯁꯦ ꯈꯟꯅꯃꯤꯟꯅꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯁꯨ ꯏꯟꯁꯇꯥꯒ꯭ꯔꯥꯝ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯗꯤꯁꯇꯤꯟꯁꯨ ꯄꯟꯕꯤꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯀꯥꯏꯗꯣꯡꯐꯝ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯡꯕꯅꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯄꯥꯎ ꯐꯥꯎꯕꯤꯔꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯇꯥꯟꯅꯁꯦ ꯈꯣꯠꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯥꯏꯗꯤꯌꯥꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯛꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗꯕꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯇꯦ ꯑꯩꯒꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯍꯩꯄꯥ ꯁꯥꯅꯤꯡꯗꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯁꯦ but at the end of the day also it should be enjoyed the process ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ art create ꯇꯧꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯍꯦꯛꯇ overthink ꯇꯧꯔꯒ we get into our head ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯟ ꯇꯥꯉꯝꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ so like mental health ꯀꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗꯁꯨ ꯗꯤꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯁꯟꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯀꯩꯀꯥ ꯇꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯁꯀꯨꯝꯕ ꯋꯥꯔꯤꯁꯦ obviously the environment is very hopeless right now ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯥ but we can also be mesmerized by ourselves by just enjoying the process and just being happy natra and just being happy for the it's easier said than done but we are so beautiful as a culture we are so beautiful as people we have so many talented and beautiful thinkers let's just come together and try to make this world a better place have a goal peace building duneba natra agenda se so that's what I want to say and thank you so much for this opportunity it's been lovely
Thank you so much, Mesak. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ invitation ꯇꯧꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯍꯔꯥꯎ ꯍꯔꯥꯎꯅ ꯌꯥꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄꯒꯤ and we wish you the very best for the rest of your journey.
thank you
And thank you guys for staying with us till the end. And we'll come back with another episode. Bye bye.